This is our Instagram course. And as I said before, we're going to be taking it as if you've never used Instagram before. Now, never using Instagram before is, that was me pretty much 2 years ago. And I didn't really like Instagram. I didn't get it. I didn't understand how to navigate around the platform. And all I could ever do was post pictures that looked quite nice and do it that way. So we're going to look at why people are using Instagram for business. It's not just a platform where we follow famous people anymore. It's very much a business related program. We're going to look at who uses Instagram. So what type of people, how can your business connect to those people? We're going to look at making sure it's a business page and optimizing Instagram as a business page. It's an important step. Then we're going to take a break. We're not doing this in big chunks. We're going to say, okay, let's all go put the kettle on, make a cup of tea, come back. And then Julia is going to take us through profiles, posts, and stories. A lot of these things, people don't quite understand which bit is which. And then we're going to look at reaching out, reaching more customers through Instagram. And finally, the one that we get asked most about, understanding hashtags. So a lot of people ask us, what are hashtags? What hashtags should I be using? So we're going to be talking through that whole hashtag situation. So let's get comfortable. Let's post, snap and post. And by the end of this workshop, we think that you should have a really strong understanding of what to post on Instagram. Not just what to post on Instagram, but how effectively to use stories, and definitely how to conquer those hashtags. So let me have a quick look at who's using Instagram. I'm just going to put a poll up. I'm going to launch a poll, and I'm going to say to you, do you use Instagram now? So you should see the poll coming up on your screen. So me, but I don't use it. That's if you're using Instagram, you have Instagram, but you don't use it. Yes, I'm using it, but I think I could do more is winning. And want to, but not got it yet is just slightly behind there. So only 9 of you have voted. If the rest of you could put a vote in there for me, it would give me a really good idea of where everybody's up to. That's nearly everybody. 93% of you have now voted. There's just one person sitting at home. They've gone for a cup of tea. Just going to give it another second. Yes, somebody's definitely gone for a cup of tea. So I'm going to share those results with you. So most of you are actually using it, but you think you could do more. Some of you want to, but haven't got it yet. And some people have got it, but they don't really use it. So I've got a real mixture of people in the group. So that gives me an idea of who we're presenting to. And later on, if you want to come on and have a chat on Zoom, then we will open up your profile and we'll be able to have some chats and you can ask us some questions. So that's really, really good. It gives us a better idea just by asking you those questions. So we know from that some of you are posting, some of you have got a few ideas, and some of you have got no clue yet. So let's have a look at the types of content we can create on Instagram. Instagram's a platform that really came about to share photographs. It's visual, and that's the first thing to remember. It's not like Facebook where we put lots of things. It is a visual thing. People are instantly attracted to the pictures and to the videos that you post. It's got a profile, a feed, it's got images, we can put engaging videos, and we can also advertise. So we're going to look at all these different sections of Instagram, how important they are, and how we can create better content on there for our business. So during the session, you should have the opportunity to ask questions. There's a Q&A section in Zoom that you can use. And what we're going to try to do is the other hosts in the webinar, Julia and Yusuf, can try and answer the chats and the questions and answers as we're going along. So I won't stop, but you can still ask me those questions. So let's look at that profile, which is your profile that you build, what your feed is, what sort of images should you be posting, and what about engaging videos? We're not really going to focus on advertising. Advertising on social media at the moment is definitely reduced. And we are going to be running a course on advertising for Facebook and Instagram later on, probably towards the end of April, beginning of May. So we run continuous courses on all the different platforms. We're also going to take you to look at stories. Some people aren't making the most of stories, and stories, particularly now, are the thing that are a little bit more light-hearted, that take our mind off all the news, effectively, what we're looking at and seeing in the news. And we're also going to look at highlights. Before I really knew how to use Instagram, I was always impressed by other people's Instagram accounts because they had highlights, stories, they had posts in feeds, and it always looked really active. And mine was just pictures of where I'd been, so it was a bit rubbish. So let's have a look at how we can get used to using all of those things. So one of the things that we ask you just to note down and remember is the ask for help section. So I'm just going to keep showing this slide just so that you know that we're here. We've got a whole load of advisors, we've got a whole load of expertise, and we're here to help as we move forward. So we'll get started. Number one, creating your personal profile. So for some people, you've said you've not even really started yet. This is where you do start. You create a profile on Instagram and you pitch your profile. So it needs to have your name and your username. Now the username becomes something called an Insta ID or an Instagram identification. So that's your @, like we're @E for all _Northwest, and that becomes what you use on Instagram. So if anybody asks you for your username, that's what is there. And you see that in Instagram. You actually see the Instagram ID showing up at the top of the page, and you can connect people's profiles using that particular Instagram ID. And then you've got a biography or a bio, and that gives you the chance to show some personality. You can include hashtags there if you want to, and you can put emojis in. It's really going to depend on your type of business. So if you're in a very serious business, if you're looking at health and safety, for example, you're probably not going to use the same number of hashtags as a business that is a nail bar, for example. So different businesses have different uses for Instagram, and different people will use different hashtags and different emojis. So that's the first sort of bit of information we can give you. So set up your Instagram profile. Make sure you've got a recognizable ID. Try, if you possibly can, to use your business name if no one else is using it, and try and personalize it so people can find you more easily on Instagram. And then your bio. Your bio section is a little bit like your bio section on Facebook or your Facebook profile, and it's the only place you can put a clickable link. So we can't put clickable links in posts. We can't send people back to our website. But here we've got a really short, concise description of our business. We can show a bit of humor if it's appropriate for the business. And you can send people over to your business directly from there. And on a business profile, you've got various sections. So important things to put on there are your name, your username, your website, what category of business you are. And also you can put contact information and a call to action. You can put your bio, and you can put a profile picture, which that would be something like your logo or something from your branding that people would recognize. So we're familiar with Instagram. I'm going to try and share now my phone screen. So bear with me while I just do that. I'm going to just stop sharing for a second. And I'm going to attempt to share my phone screen. It'll just take me a moment because I've got to unlock my phone. And just bear with us for 1 second. I'm going to show you an Instagram profile so you can see what I mean. Okay. So this is Enterprise for All's Instagram profile. And you can see here the parts that I'm talking about. So we've only got 187 followers, but we're hoping after tonight we'll have another 19 because there's 19 people on the call and hopefully there's 19 new Instagram users that want to use us, that want to see us. Then you can see that we've got 8 profile visits in the last 7 days. So our Instagram's not been very busy. We need to do more on our Instagram. You see the logo, and then you see our information. You see our website so that you can click through. And then this, we're a business profile. So what we've got here is we can edit our profile, we can look at promotions, or I can email directly. So we've got lots of things on there. And if I scroll up from my phone, then you can see all of our posts. And along the top here, these are highlights. So we'll be teaching you how you can set up the highlights for your Instagram. And we can switch between different views. We can look at who's commented, who's liked, and who's followed us. That's there. So I can already see people, if people have started to follow us today on the call. And that's that. I'm going to take you back to the PowerPoint slides now. Just it helps you to see an actual Instagram on my phone. Now, Instagram looks different on a phone to how it looks on a computer, but you can't really post very easily from a computer. You would need some software like Hootsuite. Then I'll talk to you about scheduling on Hootsuite a little bit later on. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that it's a business page. So when you're a business, you need to have a business page because it gives you a whole series of advantages when you're working for a business. In 2016, Instagram created business Instagram accounts. And it gave us that ability to add those contact buttons. You don't get those in a personal account. Access to Instagram Insights. So this is your analytics. So you can actually see how it's performing. And it allows you to pick an industry. So that shows also on your profile, and people looking and finding you in those sections of business, or if they prefer a particular type of business, are more likely to see your posts. It allows you to link to Facebook, and it allows you to cross-post with Facebook. So that's quite a useful tool. If you're putting something on Instagram, you can automatically have it posting across to Facebook. The other difference is it can be managed in the Facebook Business Manager. So there's a few chats going on there. It's popping up for me. Is there anything, Julia, that we need to answer? No. Okay. So we can manage it in our Facebook Business Manager account. And that's important. It gives us one platform where we can handle everything, particularly when you go on and you become a pro at Instagram and you start advertising on Instagram. It gives us the ability to add links into Instagram stories, and it does allow us to advertise and make promoted posts on Instagram. So if Instagram is the type of business that, the type of platform that is going to work for your business, then it's important to do that. So let's have a quick look at where we go to when we are doing our, when we're starting. And we go to settings. So it's important to know about this little bit, because this is, you probably only ever went here when you were first setting it up. So once I click settings, I can see if I'm a business account. So a lot of people will say to me, well, how do I know if I'm a business account? It's in your settings. So it's important to check. And if you're not, go to account, which is here, and it will bring up this, and you can switch to a business account. If you ever want to go back to a personal account, that's fine. You just do the same and you switch back to a personal account, but then you lose the benefits of having that business account. So into settings, over to account, and switch to business. If you're already a business, you will have this part here, and there will be a business showing. So probably the first thing you're going to be looking at now is you should be on your phone, and you may be checking to see if you're a business account. Is there anybody in the chat that is asking if I show them where that is, or is everybody okay with that? Let's have a look. No, mostly just saying hi. It's good to see you, Latif. So linking your account to Facebook gives you a whole other way of doing business. Now, personally, I'm a bit, if somebody puts lots of stuff on Instagram and everything is going to their Facebook, I think they're just being a little bit lazy. So you'll have to make your mind up what kind of content, and if the same content should be shared on both channels. I really do see Instagram as a completely different platform with a different audience and a different way of being to Facebook, which I see really as being the thing that updates and connects people within the community of my business. So I'm always looking at it quite differently. So for me, I don't cross post, not for any of the businesses that we work for. But we can go back into business and we can link it up into Facebook as well. We can link up shopping as well. So if you've got a business profile, you can have a fan page on Facebook. So if you're going to do shopping, these are the things you must have. First of all, you must have a business profile on Instagram. And this is where we see things like this one's Victoria's Secret, and it links to, and it allows you to link up to a shop. So if your product is available on your online shop, then this is something that you would need to set up, and it is quite important. So these are the things you need to check before you can do the shopping on Instagram. Number one, you need to make sure it's a business profile. If you don't, then click back a few slides later on and you'll be able to change to a business profile. You need to have a fan page on Facebook, so that needs to be created. And you need to have created at least 9 shopping publications. You also need to make sure you've got the latest version of the app. So you've got to have the latest version of Instagram, make sure it's fully up to date. And you must be able to sell physical products from your official website. It doesn't work for services. It only works if you're selling soap or if you're selling product, but it works very, very well for those things. And your profile must be connected to a Facebook catalog. All of this is done in Facebook Business Manager. If you want help with this later on, then maybe it's something that we need to discuss with you in a little bit more detail. Is there any more chat on that, Julia? No? Julia's next to me and she's reading the chat, so we can see what you're saying, which is quite nice. I feel more connected. What is that? It's all questions we will answer. So, one of the first things people get confused with on Instagram is the navigation. And for me, it was the same. This is my Guardian Angels marketing. This is an old slide. I've got more followers now, so that's good. And this is how Guardian Angel's marketing page looks. And the important thing to look at is the navigation tools at the bottom. So we've got home, we've got search, we've got add, and we've got like. So we'll have a look at how we move around in Instagram. So essentially your profile page has got all that information on. You see your logo, you can see my logo up here. You can see the contact information and a little bit about what we do. So this is my own business, this is Guardian Angels, and we help people with marketing. So that's exactly what this says. I've got my highlights, which are noted here: services, clients, events, and so on. But it can be tricky to navigate round if you're beginning to use it. But now's the time. You've got a lot of time to have a look at what other people are doing and understand what people have on their Instagram profiles, and then learning how to do something similar if you like that. Okay, any questions? No? But thank you for your comments, it's all really good. So let's jump into the Instagram feed. The feed is the thing that you see when you go to the home, and you will see everybody else's posts. They're the images that you post that go into other people's feeds. The people who follow you or follow any of your hashtags will appear in what we call the main feed. So when you go onto your Instagram, if I go onto Instagram and I start scrolling up on my feed, then I will see everybody else's things. And this is the way we do it, okay? We go really, really quickly. And we stop at something we really like. And different people will like different things. So it's an interesting, when you look at what people pause at and what people stop at, it's different. It's different what age you are, what sex you are, what industry you're in. And you will stop at certain things on Instagram, and you will stop and you will then look at more. So that visual is the most important thing in the feed. So when you go to the Explore, which is the magnifying glass, this is the universal Explore, then you get something like this. And it's really funny actually, because when I look at that's obviously on my Instagram. I sometimes wonder, why is Instagram sending me this type of stuff? Now, I'm obviously I was really into at the time following Meghan Markle with a new baby. I was probably looking at weddings. And it will send, it's got an algorithm that knows what you like, and it sends you stuff that it thinks you'll be interested in. So the Explore page is set up by that algorithm. So if somebody's liked a lot of your stuff, when they go to Explore, they'll probably see your stuff. Now, I'll give you an example. If you follow loads of dog accounts, so if you really like dogs and you follow, I don't know, let's say for example, Springer Spaniels, on Instagram, then when you go to your Explore feed, then you will get lots of other suggestions of dog accounts that you don't follow yet. There's not a specific way to appear here, and it will be mixed up posts, videos, but also it's got IGTV here. And IGTV is the TV channel that Instagram uses. It's kind of a little bit like YouTube, but not like YouTube. We've got a question there, Julia, on Q&A. Some people are asking, will we be sending the slides? And the answer is yes, we can send the slides if you want to. I'm aware that I'm going through them quite quickly. And when we do our face-to-face workshops, it's a lot easier because people are asking me questions directly. So what we will offer is you can go through the slides again, and we'll do it in a group where we can do an online chat, and you're in the chat, you're not sitting listening to me talking, and we can have some dialogue. But also we can send you the copy of the slides so that you can follow it through and you can check that you've done everything on there. So thank you, Helen, for asking. So the add button is where you start adding content. So as soon as you want to add some content to your Instagram, you can add information to your profile and post, and you can add filters, you can add effects, etc. You can tag people, you can add locations, you can share to other channels. You can connect a layout application if you have, and you can add more than one image on there. So shortly later on, we're going to be showing you how to do it. And I'm going to try and do it live, actually put something onto Instagram. I use my own Instagram account so that you can see how we do that, because I think that might be for some people a really great way of doing it. And then this is notifications. So the little heart, if you click on the heart, it's where you go to see who's reacted. You can see there who's started to follow you. You can see who's reacted to your posts, so comments will go there as well. And you can see who has mentioned you in something they've put on Instagram. And this is mentioning other companies is a brilliant way of growing your own business. And the reason that is we're all a little bit vain. The first thing we look at when we go to our social media channels, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, we look at those notifications. Who wants to engage with me before we even start looking at what information is being posted on anything else? So it's quite an important thing to know about Instagram is when you start reacting and interacting with other people, that's when they will notice you. So a lot of us just post stuff out and we don't spend time in the platform, and then we wonder why it doesn't work. So to be actively involved in Instagram is the key to actually doing well in Instagram. It's really, really important. So once you've got all this, you can start posting and engaging. And once you have your identity, you can start to make friends. So you can like their page and they can like your page. And what I'd say is, if people want to post their Instagram accounts onto the chat or into the Q&A on here, then we will follow you and we will mention you in our posts. And as we mention you, other people will see you, and then they can follow you and they can like your stuff as well. Remember, everything on social media, and some of you, I looked at your names and I know you were on my course the other week, my last face-to-face course, and we talked about this. We talked about when you are in a platform, the likes, the shares, the comments are the important thing, because the algorithm behind the social media platforms works on approximately 20%. And if you get 20% of the people that are following you to like something, then it gets shared to a wider audience. So once we've got that identity and we've made those, we can start posting, and we can post our thoughts, our opinions. We can upload images and videos of our experiences, and we can repost pages from connected businesses. So we can kind of give them a help up. I was reading a really good blog earlier about a guy who grew his Instagram following exponentially. And when asked how did he do it, he just said, I genuinely wanted to connect with other businesses. So there isn't a quick way of growing an Instagram audience. There is a way of buying followers, but then unfortunately your organic traffic doesn't grow, and you end up with a whole load of followers that never really react to anything you do. And that's not really the point of Instagram. Now, the other thing that we have is we look at pages and we want to see them looking good. We want to see consistent branding. Instagram is all about the look. And I'm showing you here some really beautiful Instagram accounts just to inspire you, or where branding is really well used. So only ever use your best images. So you can see on this bridal one, these are absolutely fantastic images. These are good ones to follow just to get an idea of what people are doing. And what you can see here is a consistency. She's a florist, and she does some beautiful stuff. I follow her on Instagram, and I really enjoy waiting for her next ones coming up, which is good. And then Freddie's steak burgers, I picked this one out. It's got quite a high following for somebody who just really does burgers. And the great thing about this one is the branding. So the branding really stands out. They've used the red and white in some simple icons. They've got their colors, and they keep their colors nice and consistent throughout everything that they post. You'll notice on their profile, they've got hashtags that they particularly link with. They're their own hashtags, and it links through to their website. They're sending people to the locations part of the website. That's an important thing to notice there. So people will see it, they're a franchise, and they'll find their nearest. So clever uses of Instagram can be found. So what to do is have a look on your own business, similar businesses, and find somebody that you really like, and then it'll maybe give you a better idea of how you want to present your own Instagram. Styling and branding, and also clever pictures. Some of the most beautiful Instagram accounts are the travel accounts. We can see this one, beautiful destinations. I think there's somebody on the webinar that is that looks at organizing cruises. So if your type of business is like that, then it's going to be amazing, because you can just post pictures of places that you've been. And these are quite often the most stunning pictures. But you'll even notice from this, there's a theme, there's a style to it. All the photos, you would probably take 20, 25 pictures from every little view that you go to, but you will only ever post your absolute best one. And then I've got Ida Frost, which is from Norway. And this is just a clever use of food. And it's a massively followed Instagram account for foodies. And I know there's people on here on the webinar that have food businesses. So it's just a way of finding a method to get your message out that's perhaps that little bit cleverer than the competition. So that one's a good one to follow if you're a foodie. Other inspirational people that you can follow, I love Lego. I think Lego has a brilliant one. And these are just some of the most followed Instagram accounts that would give inspiration. These are all they've all got really clever and very, very different types of Instagram. So maybe take a screenshot from your phone, or wait until we send you the slides, and you can start looking up some of these different styles, different methods, but learning from the really clever people. And these are brands and companies. These are not famous people on Instagram. If we look at who's got the big following, these brands have all got big followings. So the biggest numbers of followers are always people, they're all celebrities, but these have got really high followers just for a brand. So Ben and Jerry's, for instance, has a really high following. Starbucks has a really high following. And you'll see their style, and you'll see how they're doing it. There's some really clever Instagram accounts out there. Just in case you want to know who the most followed people are, this was in 2020. Leo Messi, Beyonce, Kylie Jenner, Kim Kardashian. All of these people have got massive followers. I have to say, I don't think I follow any of those myself. I follow mostly businesses. But if you're interested, it's worth looking at what sort of information and what these people are putting out. It's just fascinating, I think. So next we're going to look at how we can best reach customers. Is this your bit? Let's have a look. So how Instagram offers a number of different options of how you can reach customers. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch my screen over, and Julia is going to share this for you, and she's going to talk to you about how you can create posts, create stories, use Messenger, go live, and we won't be doing ads today, but she's going to talk to you about all of those. So I'm just going to come back to you, and you can see me. I just need to switch over to Julia, even though she's only sat next to me. It's actually, I have to do a little bit of movement.
Mute her. Hello everybody, hope you can all hear me. I'm just going to share my screen. So yeah, reaching customers. How do we do that on Instagram? There's many ways that you can reach a variety of people on Instagram. Posts, stories, Messenger, live videos, and ads, but obviously we won't go through those today. For Instagram posts, the primary function is to get reactions off people, have comments off people. What makes a good post is having a good quality image, having a good caption, and using hashtags. In terms of good quality image, you just want to make sure that it's not blurry, it's sized right. So I think the size for an Instagram post is 1080 pixels by 1080 pixels. If some of you don't know what that means, it's just the size, so it's normally just in a square. And yeah, just create an engaging caption as well. So telling people what they're doing, what you're doing, what the post is about, and using hashtags as well. So here you can see, images. You've got good quality images. You've got great subject. There's a clear, consistent theme within the brand. Some emotional context. So you've got, the dog there. Everybody loves dogs. You can't go wrong with posting a dog. And they're painting a mood of, that healthy lifestyle. So that's what you kind of want to bring through with your Instagram. In terms of putting a caption, it can be a snappy one-liner, or it can be a longer story. It all depends. Some people like a long thing that they can read, and that is engaging for some people. Some just like a quick, witty one line that's equally just as effective. Which you see the example on the screen about a batch of delicious chocolate chip brownies. Come on down and get them before they're all gone, and then they put the hashtags at the end there. That just, is engaging people to come and go and get those chocolate chip brownies so they can eat them. In terms of hashtags, explaining hashtags can be a bit confusing for some. The best way to kind of look at it is if you were thinking of words or a couple of words that would describe your business. So if someone were to say to you, okay, give me 5 words to describe your business or describe that specific post that you want out there, that's what you would use your hashtags for. You can put them in the start, in the middle, or at the end of your caption. Sometimes if you kind of want it to look neat, it's better to put them at the end. But it really depends on what type of business you are, and just essentially just use down as a person if you want them in the middle, wherever you like. Typically it doesn't, if you use too many hashtags, it doesn't cause a problem, but it just does look a bit messy, I suppose. So typically people use 9 to 10 at the most, but they've got to make sure that they're 9 to 10 relevant hashtags. You can't just put any random hashtags in there. They've got to be relevant to your business and what you are talking about in that post, or what you want people to take from that post. So you've got hashtags that you can use as your own brand. So for example, we would use E for all or ask for help. You can use common ones. So at the moment, a common would be, entrepreneur or working from home. And then you've got more specific ones, so Start Lancashire, and you could also use geographical ones, so Lancashire, Preston, just so that people in that area that might be looking at that hashtag can see your posts as well. There are a lot of big popular hashtags, so at the moment a lot of people will be using the hashtag self-care, and this, if you are using this hashtag or any other popular hashtag, it will just get drowned in a big pile of other posts that are being used with that hashtag. So try looking for or using hashtags that are a little bit less popular. So like, for example, self-care tips or self-care advice might just be a little bit easy just to get your post shown a lot more, just so it doesn't get swallowed with everything else. You can use more niche hashtags. Try and not go too niche, because sometimes that doesn't quite work. So if it's something completely niche, then it won't get much response and people won't really find it. But try and go somewhere in the middle. So you've got a couple of there for like hashtag go for it girl, hashtag ask for help, which is what we're using at the moment, sustainable living, which is quite a good one, springtime and help you achieve more would be quite a good one as well, and other things as well. So influencers, we won't really talk on that today because that's a bigger topic that might be useful to some people. Local events as well, you can share their things, join in with them, comment, like, and on their posts, and events as well that are going on. Obviously there's bigger events going on than Brexit at the moment, but and seasonal, so it's not Christmas anymore but it's spring, so you can look at things to do with spring as well. And I will hand it back over to Michaela to look at hashtags, if that's all right.
It certainly is.
I'll just mute myself and
put mine back
hand
on.
over to her.
Mute.
And unmute me. So I'm back. Thank you, Julia. I'm going to share the screen and we're going to look at what hashtags do you think you might want to use in your business. So just start sharing. A closer look at your hashtags. So have you given any thought to the hashtags that you're using? It'd be interesting if you can put on the chat hashtags that you think that you ought to use, hashtags that you think, oh, that was a really good one, or what exactly, you might be saying, well, still don't understand what exactly is a hashtag. People follow hashtags. People will, I'm just going to stop sharing a bit so that you can see me talking about this. People will look for hashtags in Instagram a little bit like we Google things in Google. So for example, I quite often use hashtags when I'm looking for a specific place to go. I used it massively for a holiday recently, and I couldn't find what I wanted in Google. I was really looking. We were going on a holiday and we were going to Vietnam, and we wanted to go to Ha Long Bay. Now, I'm a really visual person, so I don't look at things and read them. I know in my mind what basically what I have is a mental picture of something. So I had this really clear mental picture, and I'm going to share with you the mental picture that I had. I was on a cruise in Ha Long Bay. I wanted to go to Vietnam for many, many years, and that's where I wanted to go. And I had this mental picture. And this picture was blue sea outside, a window that was full length, and it had net curtains blowing, and there were probably Egyptian cotton sheets on the bed, and somebody had brought a beautiful breakfast in, and I wouldn't look like me. I'd be like a really, really amazing version of myself. And I would be there on the bed, ready to eat my breakfast. And this picture was in my mind, but I couldn't find that in Google. No matter what I Googled, I couldn't find that. Even doing images, couldn't find the right thing that I wanted to book on. So what I did was I went to Instagram and I just did hashtag Harlong Bay. And it just brought loads and loads into my feed of Harlong Bay. I followed that hashtag. And one time I'm looking on there and I saw that picture and it literally matched the mental image that I'd got. So it had that full length window, beautiful white curtains blowing in the breeze, picture of Harlong Bay, beautiful blue sea in the background. And then I went on the post, I looked up the company, and then I contacted the company, and that's where I booked my cruise. So that's an example of how hashtags work. So if you are using them, they are essentially keywords that you're using. So your list of keywords that you're using for Google probably convert quite nicely over into hashtags. So it's one of those things that a lot of people, they just put hashtags in without really thinking about it, or they find it really, really baffling, don't they? I mean, Julia and I spend a lot of time researching hashtags and looking what hashtags are trending at certain times. It doesn't, it's amazing what's trending at the moment. You would think COVID, and what's banned, yeah, there are certain things that get banned on Instagram. So sometimes if you're using a hashtag that's banned, sometimes you need to check that out. So we saw a lot of people in beauty posting and saying beauty blogger, and beauty blogger was a banned hashtag. We don't know why. But when your hashtag is banned, it also affects the algorithm, and people don't see your stuff. So researching into the hashtags is more important. So people who don't follow you can find you just on a hashtag. So if I was looking for, let's say, for example, vegan chocolate Easter eggs, I would actually look on Instagram and I would type in the hashtag vegan chocolate Easter eggs. And I could probably find, if you were a company that is doing vegan chocolate Easter eggs, I could probably find them. Unfortunately, wouldn't be able to come out to your shop and buy one, but I might be able to get one online. So these are the types of ways that people can find you. Beverly is asking, where would you see the banned hashtags? And Julia, where do you see the banned hashtags? We think they're on Instagram's website. We'll send you a link out later on so that you can find where the banned hashtags. Obviously, a lot of the banned hashtags are the hashtags that you would expect to be banned. So it's really the sort of rude ones, the ones that you would expect to be banned. Certain things you can't say online, they're the same keywords that get banned. Also, prescription drugs are banned. Hashtag with a prescription drug would be banned on Instagram. So it's important with hashtags that it links things together. And at the moment, if you're looking, I'm not 100% sure what all of your businesses are. Some of them I know, but there will be specific hashtags that people are looking for. If you were a travel company, hashtags for locations would be important. If you're a clothing manufacturer, hashtags are also really, really useful. In every business, you grow your Instagram through hashtags. Unless you've got a lot of friends, and then you just get all your friends or everybody in the group to actually follow you on Instagram. And anybody that's following us on Instagram on the Enterprise for All, E for All _Northwest, we're actually sat here now and we're following you back on Instagram, or I am anyway. So let me go back to those hashtags. I'm going to share the screen again for you. And we're going to look at your hashtags. Now, one of the things that I found it's really important to do is to plan. Instagram, when you just do it off the cuff, is like any other social platform that you do off the cuff. So for example, here's a plan that we would use, and we can send a simple planner out to you. But what you can see is we're already planning our Facebook and our Instagram, and we're planning it here for Enterprise for All. Facebook is getting tip 5 of 10 steps to greatness. Instagram is getting tips, similar things, similar content. And what you can do is you can add your hashtags in here, or you can create a document with your hashtags. It's important to plan. I'm just going to stop sharing again. The reason we plan is because any of you have been on my courses before, you'll know exactly the reason why you've got a plan. Because what you do is you think, oh, flipping it, I haven't put anything on Instagram for ages. What can I put on? Let me think. Yeah, I'll just write something. And what you'll do is you'll go into Instagram and you'll press the plus, and you'll think, okay, I'll just share something that I've screenshotted from somewhere else that I put on Facebook yesterday. It might be the wrong thing for Instagram. You've not thought about your followers. You've given no thought to anything that's really going on, to be honest. And you put something out and you put a few hashtags off the top of your head that you think might just work. And you put something maybe quite inspirational in the words, but you've perhaps copied that from somewhere. I'm not saying you do that, but I know I would, and I do, and I have. And then when I post it, I'm a little bit disappointed that nobody's really talking to me. Nothing's really happening with my Instagram account. So it's important that it's relevant, and it's important that it's planned. It's interesting, actually. One of the things that I've noticed around this time particularly are the people who pre-planned all their social media for March, not knowing about the coronavirus. So I've got some really good screenshot examples of businesses that have posted things that are just completely ridiculous given the times that we're living through at the moment. So where planning comes in, you can plan, you can pre-plan, you can post things over a period of time, and you can schedule things if you want to, but you've got to know that things might change. And never have we been more aware of that than this week, where people are still putting paid ads on things that we can't possibly do. And that's quite scary, I think. So if you are going to do that, make sure that if something happens, then you go in and you completely change your messaging. The minute we all started in all of this, all our clients, Julia, we were going crazy, because then we had to rewrite all of their content, change all of that messaging. Look at Boost with its ask for help. Look at all those different companies coming up with specific, really, really good content with the right hashtags at the right time. So back to my hashtags. I just wanted to talk about that, because I see people just putting banal, lame stuff out on Instagram that doesn't do anything and it doesn't go anywhere. It needs to be planned. Let me go back to sharing my screen so that you can see our planner. And it's only simple. It doesn't have to be one of these really fancy pieces of software. And what we could do is we can copy the hashtags into here for Instagram, and then we can actually copy and paste them if we want to when we're using Instagram. So actually, before I go on to stories, how many hashtags do we use? Did you talk about how many hashtags we should use? 10? Around about 10, we think. We find that that tends to be quite optimal when we use around about 9 or 10 hashtags, and we make them variable hashtags. We make them, stop sharing that again. We make them things like location. So I would be hashtagging Lancashire a lot. I hashtag Preston, Chorley, Blackburn if you're a local business. So you can use lots of different types of hashtags. But when you're putting those hashtags in, don't use the same ones in the same order all of the time, because Instagram knows you're doing that. And its idea is to mix things up and change things around. So don't do that. Don't just copy and paste the same hashtags. Make sure you've got slightly different ones in slightly different orders. And it changes. I know an influencer on Instagram who recently said to me, everything that I've been doing for the last 2 years isn't working anymore. I've got to change it. I've got to mix it up. And he believes that the number of hashtags that Instagram preferred went down. So look at your hashtags, make sure that your hashtags are really, really appropriate for the time of year, the location, and everything that you do in your business. The same way you do with keywords, the same thing. Okay. So once we've got a plan, our plan will tell us whether we're going to put things in the feed, whether we're going to put things on stories, and our different social media ideas are going out with slightly different tones of voice and slightly different moods to them. And that would be normal. That would be the right thing to do, because the people that follow you on Facebook are a different demographic to the people following you on Instagram. And they're different again on Twitter, and they're different again on LinkedIn. We're in a different mood when we're on different social media platforms. So for me, I go over to Instagram when I am seeking being entertained, when I'm looking for something nice, somewhere to go, something nice to buy, something good to eat, that type of thing. I'm on Facebook when I'm wanting to connect to my friends and family. And I'm on, as anybody knows me, I'm on LinkedIn when I'm in business mode. So my brain is working in a slightly different way when I'm on different platforms. So the tone of voice that you use and the way that you approach me has to be slightly different. If I use my LinkedIn voice on Instagram, I come across as being really stuffy. If I use my Instagram voice over on LinkedIn, I come across as being a bit flaky, probably. So I choose a tone of voice depending on which different platform I'm working within. Okay, so let's look at how we can post. So we've got those posts that go and they stay in Instagram, but we've also got stories which look slightly different. So this is on the phone app, and this is how we post stories. If we go here to where this little plus is here, and we click, it takes us into stories. And stories are a way to reach people in a different way. They tend to be a little bit more friendly, a little bit more an insight into what's happening now. And Facebook and Instagram both have stories. If you create a story in Facebook, you can also share it on Instagram now. So you can cross-post your stories, same on Instagram back to Facebook. But what it is it's like a little clip of what's going on in your life. It can be a bit funny. It can be softer. We can use things like location stickers, GIFs, emojis. We can put text on there. And what people tend to do is, if they like using stories, they'll use stories on a daily basis. But when people go into their feed, the stories are always more prominent. So you'll see what people are doing. When you go onto someone's profile, you can check into their stories by having a look at this section here. Just click on there. And it tends to be something that we do that is more friendly, that is more just an insight, what's going on in your business today. Very often you'll see videos of just what's happening in the office. And it's a quick thing, it doesn't last forever, it's just in the moment. You can mention other people in there. So if you want to tag another business, you can tag them. And you can also put links into there as well if you've got a business account. And we can use effects. We can use effects, we can edit the photographs. And this is our one. When did we do this one? This is a recent one. A couple of days ago. It's time to work, and we're working from home. Everyone's working from home. we're all struggling. We're all trying to find that balance between the dog coming in on a conference call or the children coming in on a conference call. We're all dreaming of our desk looking like that, nice and clean. And we would just put some text in there, and we can use these little sections along the top to write text, put pictures in, to put tags in. Get cool with this, get good with this, because this is where you get to have a little bit of fun as well. Because sometimes just posting on social media, you lose the fun out of it. So this is where you can really get into it. And this is where we can share it to our story or share it to our friends. If you want to, just share it to your close people. So just want you to have a think, and maybe take a piece of paper while we just take a break for a second. We'll remain here, you'll remain there, we'll all be together on this call, but just write down an idea for 5 different stories that you could post over the next few days. If you want to share them with us, that would be great. But in the interim, we're just going to take a break just for a few minutes. It enables us to catch up with questions. But we're just looking at 5 stories that you can do, that you can create just maybe over the next week. And let's do a challenge. Let's see if we can use those stories. I'm going to be right back. Julie's going to be here for a moment answering your questions, and then we'll go on with our Instagram. I've got to get drunk. Milo. John just walked in. You want chat or Q&A? Thank you, Ruth. So we're just thinking of five different stories that we might be sharing. And I'll share a few of them because there's some really, really good ideas from Tanya. Making me something at work, luxury cushions available, new fabrics. Great ideas that you're sharing here. Thank you. Thank you, Riz. I didn't realize the mic was still switched on. I should have muted. My bad. Hopefully that's the first mistake that we've made on this first webinar. Promoting things that you're doing. It doesn't have to be things that you are doing as in events, because none of us are doing any events, but our online events can be promoted on here as well. So you might use specific hashtags for a special online event, something you're going to live stream. We would do similar things once we've got our webinars, and we, at the moment, we're full up for our webinars, but one of the things we will be doing as we create more and more is we'll be sharing them on there. And we've got great ideas there from everybody, which is really, really nice. Are there any more in Q&A? Let's have a look. One of the things that we were looking at doing was maybe giving people a walk around Zoom as well, how they could use Zoom, how they could put events on and then share those events on their social media. And I think that is what this is doing for us, is forcing us to work in new ways, to connect with people in new ways, to look for new ways to find connection within groups of people. And I actually think that that's really, really exciting. I think that that offers a whole new lot of, when we add in the socializing back, then we've already got all this online stuff going on. And now for me, social media has kept me in touch. I'm on different groups, I'm web chatting, I'm doing everything from home. I wonder if I need a car anymore. People love to see inside your business. So you're seeing inside my home office now. It's fascinating looking, taking a look, learning about the people in your business. These are all stories that you can share, linking up to what you're thinking, what you're doing, what you're feeling at the time. And stories is an emotional part of Instagram. So lots of stories at the moment are telling stories about what people are doing in their isolation, what people are doing as they've stopped, they're doing social distancing, what they're doing with their kids. There's huge amounts trending for kids at the moment. What to do with your kids. It's like the biggest, longest school holiday that people have ever had. Latif says he would write stories about meetings, networking, guest talks, webinars, and even a thought for the day. A thought for the day is really good. I follow my church on all social media platforms, and I love the thoughts of the day there. It helps me in lots of ways, and that always really connects with me. So thank you, Latif. That's a really good one. So you should have a list of stories that you're going to do next week, and I'm really going to be looking forward to, and I'm going to be monitoring this on Instagram next week from the Enterprise for All account, and I'm going to be making sure that we react to your stories as we can start to see you becoming a lot more vocal and a lot more confident on those Instagram stories. I'm just going to go back to my screen. So stories is a completely different way of sharing stuff. You plan out what you want to showcase. Don't just do it last minute. Make sure it's part of your plan and decide what you want to tell your audience. Do you want to share a behind the scenes? It might be quite interesting at the moment because our behind the scenes are completely different to what our behind the scenes look like normally. What goes on in your business? What does your business look like now you're working from home? What problems have you got working from home? Don't just share the good stuff, share the bad stuff. Do you want to educate your audience with your expertise? Instagram stories are a great way to share little tips and tutorials, 5 best ways to, that type of thing. Much lighter than say LinkedIn or Facebook, but still can be educational? Or are you trying to discover more about your audience? If you want to discover more about your audience, you can use the features on there, asking fans for feedback, asking them to link to a focus group that you've got, focusing for a week on one product, doing different things with one product, for example. If you're a service provider, there may be some tips about what types of service or who would use that type of service, and come up with an overall theme and keep to that theme so that it looks nice in your Instagram feed. Decorate the story with elements and things. Personally, I find that really hard to fill the whole page with different elements and stickers and things like that. Find it a little bit distracting, but it depends on your business and who your business is targeted to. And start with just one story a day for the next 5 days. Make that our personal goal of what we would like to try and do over this next week. Surely, with all this time that we seem to have, I've not found any time yet. But when we do find that time to start doing more things, then surely what we could do is come up with a story about what we're doing every day for 5 days. So that's just a little, I don't know, a little goal to set ourselves perhaps. And we'll do it as well from Enterprise for All. What we'll do is we will commit to sharing what it's like in each of our homes on lockdown on our Facebook story. I'm going to ask the staff to send me a picture of what their working area looks like, and then we will share it with you over Instagram this week. And Julie's writing it down because she knows that's going to be her job. Anybody on the call from Enterprise, make sure you tidy your desk because we're going to be asking for those pictures. Going live on Instagram, I don't do a lot of going live on Instagram, but it is very, very useful. It's becoming used again more and more because of what's happening. And I've seen more things on Instagram TV, more album or record launches going on Instagram TV. And it's a really, really useful and not so well used platform, I think. It really allows you to engage with your audience, both Facebook Live and Instagram Live. It's a great way at the moment of connecting with a big group of people. So if you've got a lot of followers, you can engage with that audience. They can talk to you as you're talking to us now. We can answer questions in real time. It's a really clever, useful tool for that, and we can host Q&As. It's an interesting platform. And as I say, it's not much used. The best thing to do is just do a really, really short one. Plan a short live video on either Facebook or Instagram. And it gives that personal connection. By next week, we predict that people are absolutely going to be craving that personal connection. We have been in our homes, a lot of us, with just our family for over a week already. And it gives you that connection. You're seeking that connection to talk to people that you normally talk to be with those people. We can use that now to connect people together and connect people with our businesses. So it's a really, really good time to start doing it. So how do you use Instagram Live? Instagram videos and Instagram TV are both platforms. It's difficult for me to show you how to go live without going live. So what we said was, if you want to join us on a chat about how to do that, then you're very welcome to do it. But posting images these days, people are less, they don't react because they see so many images on all their feeds. When they see a video, what they see is moving pictures, and you can portray such a lot of information just in a short video. So by putting live videos and posting videos, then we can really, really attract that attention. So videos on Instagram last about a minute or so. Just keep them short and sweet. Just do a really quick practice one. Unless you've got over 1 million followers, there's not going to be a lot of engagement, but it is a brilliant, brilliant way of engaging and talking to an audience that's different to your Facebook audience. A lot of people will say, well, I use Facebook all the time. Should I really bother with Instagram? Is it just for younger people? Is it just for fashion? It's for everybody, and there's lots of different people on that platform. So let's have a look at how we can keep contact with people. Once we've started to share regular information, how can I keep my audience engaged with my business page? We can keep gaining customers, and we do that by introducing ourselves to them, maybe liking something they did, commenting on their posts, so then they follow us. But we've also got to retain the customers that we found. People can unfollow you on Instagram as fast as they follow you. So you've got to get them involved with your business. You've got to engage them in what you're doing. And that's also an important part. We tend to just focus on the gaining new people on any of our social media platforms. And it's a natural thing. We can see the number of people, oh, this person's now following, this person's now following, and we feel really good. But what we're not doing is we're not concentrating on retaining the people we have. And it's a rule of sales. It's so much easier to sell to people that you already have as in your fan club than it is to attract new people to your business. So we need to retain. So how are we going to retain them? One of the big things that people do on Instagram is something that I do quite often, or I used to do quite often. I'm just going to stop sharing for a minute so you can see me, so you can see how sincere I am. And this is what would happen with my business. What I would do is I would be posting lots and lots on Instagram about a specific subject. And I tended to post more on Instagram or Facebook and LinkedIn when I wasn't very busy. And then I would get more and more work in. And as I got more work in, I would stop posting. And if I'm absolutely honest with you all, the first one to suffer would be Instagram, because I didn't really like that platform so much. So I stopped posting on Instagram, and then I would post less on the other platforms as well. And that's not a good way. Consistency is key. And more than anything, consistency is key on Instagram. So if people are messaging you on Instagram and you're not messaging them back, you're not engaging with them, then it's not a good habit to get into. So if you're going to commit to Instagram as a platform, then it's really important that you commit to being able to put regular content on there and slightly different content generally from your Facebook. So consistency on all of the platforms is one of the things that I would really, really say that makes a big, big difference. So go back to my screen. So don't stop. It doesn't matter. We acquired followers, and some people will say, oh, I've got loads of followers now, I'm just going to post less. It doesn't help the platform. So keep them interested. Provide regular updates. New, interesting, targeted, correct information going out to them. Encourage participation. Get creative on Instagram. Put new offers, discounts, and create a community within the platform that you have. Otherwise, if all you're ever going to do is put 4 posts a week and never actually participate in anything, then all you will ever do on Instagram is put 4 posts per week. So interesting stuff all the time and relevant stuff. And commenting on other people's posts. When you go on to, if you're working in a specific industry sector, or you're working within a group of people, let's say at the moment, I don't know about you, but my village has got Facebook groups. Everybody's following one another on social media. Everyone's giving those words of encouragement within in communities. So I'm involved in different communities from different businesses, and I'm seeing all of that. And I'm actually reading what people are saying. So customers can comment on a business's post. They can ask you questions. So if you don't tend to go on your Instagram every day, if somebody's asked you a question, it's what my children would call airing you. you've not answered it. It's a bit like not answering the phone in today's society. You can communicate your thoughts and your strategies. At the moment, we're seeing lots of people saying what their status is, where they're up to with this COVID-19. Is their business closed? Is their business online? Can they do anything? Are they supporting? Can they support the community? That type of thing. That communication is key. We can also tag other people on Instagram so that we can tag them so that they see what you've put in their notifications. So tomorrow, when you do your Instagram post, I would ask that you tag us at E for All Northwest, and then we can know that you're actually doing this. We can then tag you back in our posts and say, thank you for joining the webinar yesterday. And that all causes engagement. You can actually have conversations there. And don't be scared. It's just customer service. And so many Instagram accounts, I quite often take over an Instagram account, or I look at it to see why it's not working. And one of the reasons is they've not worked out how to answer and reply to the messages on there. So if that's something that you need help with, let us know on that. And it's not just about sharing your stuff on Instagram. It's actually about when you meet people on other platforms, ask them to follow your page. When people engage with your business, when they come onto your website, or when we go back to networking, it's really important that you say, will you follow me on Instagram? It's not a big thing for people to do. But by the time you've added all these people in, you're then in community with them. And that is also important. You can network your page like you network your business, and you can share it to all the different people. And when we do that, we reach a larger audience. So when we work with people and share our stuff with them and their stuff we share out, it works as a community together. And getting that right can make a massive impact. And it is not, people will say, oh, I didn't get any business on Instagram. Sometimes it's just getting your message across, your branding, what you're trying to do, your belief, or what you're saying goes out on Instagram.